Konfuzius said, "Love is the spice of life. It can make it sweet, but it also can make it salty." So today I would like to create this tag, and if you want to know how I did this, this video is for you. Hi there, this is Luise Heinzel. Nice to see you again here on my channel. So for this tag, I took a normal sheet of paper. So this is DIN A4 and it's a little bit thicker, some kind of photo paper. And I just folded it in three pieces and then I glued it like this with a normal glue stick. I used my bone folder to get some really clear edges, but I think you can also do this with your fingernail or some kind of brayer or something like that. Then I took my bone folder instead of a ruler to make this little edge here. And then I cut this and used this little edge for the other side. I just cut it like this, hold it, and then turn it around so that I can get the same angle for the other side of this tag. So this is going to be a really big tag because I want to have some bigger tags as some kind of journal topper. I think that's the word you call it, to have some nice elements for journal covers and that stuff. So this will be a really some kind of outstanding tag that's not meant to be used as a normal tag where you can journal on the back side, but that you can use as a decorative element for your journal cover, or you can even hang it to a wall of inspiration or to your craft room as decoration. For the background and also for the focal point that I will add later, I used this printable page. So this is a page from my printable paper pack that's called The Day After Valentine. You can find this paper collection in my Etsy shop, of course. The link to my shop is down below in the description box. So if you are interested, I would be really happy if you check that out. And as the focal point for this tag, I used those white birds and I just cut them out of this printed page. And as you can see, I made a little mistake here because this little birdie has 3 feet now. So if you need something to love, now it would be the right time to do that because that looks really strange. But I didn't realize that when I cut that out, but no panic, I will fix this problem later by adding some elements so that this bird will get 2 feet. Yeah. So, okay. For the next step, I used those tea bags because I wanted to get a context between the background of this printable paper and this elements that I will glue now. For this foreground, I wanted to have something like a little hill where those birdies can sit on. And these tea bags are some kind of used material, of course. And the background of this printable paper is also some kind of trash and junk. Because in this printable paper, you can find a photo of a wall that has a lot of posters on it. So I don't know this English word for that, but you know those walls where they glue those really big advertisements on some kind of posters, and when those are teared off, then you have this really grungy and junky look. And this photo I used for creating my printable paper, and so I wanted to have this context between this this image on the printable and the foreground of this tag. So hopefully that makes sense. Since I glued this red tea bags, I realized that when you put glue onto red tea bags, they will become some kind of grayish and a really gray blue. So I don't know why this happens, but if you want to do that, so perhaps you know it already, that can be also a fact. But if you want to do it or you do it the first time and this happens to you, you can also use some watercolor when this whole thing is dry, and bring this color back if you want to have this red or purple color of the tea bag. In the next step, I used some white gesso. I just applied it with my finger because I have the best control over it when I do this with my fingers. And I also did this only in some areas, so not on this whole tag, but yeah, to give it some kind of frame, so to distress it a little bit, but not with this typical distress color. Normally we use this brown or this vintage photo distressing by HOLTZ. But in this case, I wanted to have this distressing in another color, but also in the same time, some kind of grungy and really distressed. I arranged those birds in a little bit different position than they were on the original page of the printable, because I wanted to have them matching this, this how is that called? So this tag is higher than it is wide. So do you know what I mean? So the birds can't be next to each other, but they have to be one on the bottom and one on the top. So yeah, I don't know how to explain this in English, but I think you know what I mean. The proportions of the birds fit better when they are in this direction and not in the original direction of the printable page. Next, I took a water-soluble black pen and I tried to get some shadings around this tea bags. So in this moment they turned into some kind of little hill for me. So the birdies later on will sit on this little hill. And I tried to get some dimension into this by shading this with this black pen. And I used this water brush. So you can also use a normal brush and dip this into water, of course. But I think this kind of brush is really helpful because you don't need water on your table. So in between, I also put the birds to my tag to see how I would like to arrange them and where the position of the bird is, so that I can see how dark I need this background. As you can see, I use some white gesso here to bring a little bit of this lighter color back, so that this little leaf on the bottom of this left bird is not so one piece with the background. So yeah, later on this will change a little bit, but in that moment I thought the background has to be a little bit more lighter. Then I glued those birds, but only in the middle of them, so in the middle of this paper, because I wanted to arrange those die-cut flowers behind them. These are die cuts from this Wildflower collection by HOLTZ. So if you are interested in having those, I have the link to my Amazon storefront down below in the description box as well. And there's a section where you can find all the die cuts that I have and that I love. And of course, those are listed there for you as well. So if you want to have them, you can find them there. I glued those die cuts with mud medium, and oh, by the way, perhaps that is interesting as well, I cut them out of this same photo paper that I used for the base of this tag. So that's a little bit thicker paper, but nothing like cardstock or something like that. It's thicker but not too thick. So I think that looks really elegant when you cut those flowers out of this white paper. So I love this really much. When you know my other videos, you know that I love these flowers when they are cut out of this white paper. And here you just could see how I solved the problem with the third feet that this bird had. So I glued a little piece of this flower just over this, so that now it makes sense, and we have the right amount of feet here on those birds. Then I started shading this focal point, so that means shading around some of those little leaves and of course around the birds. And here it was really difficult for me to decide what's the right amount of shading. So I think it turned out a little bit too much, because now I go around this die cuts as well. And perhaps if you have done this before, you know this is a really difficult job, because it's hard to control where this color goes. So when the color goes on top of this white flowers, they of course don't look so elegant anymore, but they look a little bit distressed, they look a little bit grungy, and I was not so happy. To be honest, I was not so happy in this step when I did this, because yeah, they really lost this elegance and this look that they had before. So in the meantime, while I'm recording this voiceover for this video, I had an idea to solve this problem. So perhaps when I do this step for another tag, or I use those same flowers, then I would do it this way. I would make it like this, like I have it here, and then cut the same die cuts from the same paper and put them on top. Then you have the shading around the bottom layer of these flowers, and you could put another layer on top with the same flowers that are clearly white and that have this elegant look that I originally planned. That could be, I think, a solution for this. And this tag would also be a little bit more dimensional as it is now, because of this another layer that you would put on top. For the bottom, I decided that I want to have some lace here, but yeah, as you can see, I'm struggling a little bit with the position of this thing. Then I decided that I want it there on the bottom, and I just made a hole with my crocodile, and then I attached this lace with a little eyelet. And I think this is a really cool thing as well, because now I can attach some kind of mini tassel or some dangles or something like that through this hole. And yeah, then I thought 2 holes in this tag are not enough. I need a third hole, because I think when you have this kind of triangle with these holes, so the hole on the top and the hole that I will make on the right side here now, and the hole on the bottom, that makes a triangle, and it's an irregular triangle, so that these 3 elements yeah, become some kind of harmony on this tag. Yeah, so now it looks like this, and yeah, I think I will show you this in detail. So yeah, let's have a look at this. I think, yeah, the shading, it's nice, but for me it's a little bit too much. So as I said, the next time I definitely would do that a little bit different, or glue a second layer of this die cuts on top of this. Then I decided that I want to have some kind of frame around this tag, but I didn't want to distress it. Because of this flower die cuts that are peeking out of the edges, I couldn't go around with a distressing tool and distress this thing, so I decided to poke some holes and go around with a thread and sew around this thing. So as you perhaps know, I am not in my caravan where my craft supplies are, so, and where I normally do my crafting. During the winter month, I'm in another home, or how can I say that? And this is the kitchen of this second home I have, and there I don't have a sewing machine. So I had to go around this tag with a needle and this thread and my hands. So the sewing itself was not such a problem, but making these holes through this thick material, that was really strange and really time consuming, but I am really happy that I did it, because I think this looks really nice, and this color of the thread is the same color like this tea bags and like this little wooden sticks where the birds are sitting on, and I think that looks really nice. And I think it's also a good alternative to do this distressing thing. So I think this distressing with this distress ink is this normal kind of distressing that we are doing very often, and I like to try some things that are an alternative to that, things that we do normally. For the bottom, I decided that I want to have this little label that says love. I just stamped this with some letter stamps that I have, and then I thought it looked a little bit naked, and I wanted to have a context to the other tags that I already made with this paper collection. So I have other tags with these birds and these flowers, and they have this metal labels that you can find on Amazon or wherever. And I wanted to have some kind of metal here, but I didn't have another label of this. So I stapled around with my stapler around this little paper label. Then I distressed it so that I nearly got the color that the other labels on my other tags have. And then I put this word love on top of this. So it gets some kind of more dimension as well. And it also is some kind of highlight that you don't see every day, I think. So perhaps it's an idea that you want to try. It's really, really fun to staple around this thing. So I think those needles of the stapler, so do you call that needles? I don't know. So these little tiny things that come out of the stapler sometimes can be really great highlights, I think, on those little embellishments like this tag. Yeah, because of the fact that this label was a little bit alone there on the bottom, I decided to put some more leaves and these little flowers there. I had a little bit of some kind of a hard job to figure out where to put them, because the other flowers were already glued, and I decided this thing with the label later. And then I think it's always a hard job to figure out how to arrange this, but I think I could manage it by doing it like you can see it here. And now I think this tag has some kind of bottom. So first it was a little bit naked and a little bit, not so harmonical. But now with this little love, I think, this little love label makes a really big difference to the look that it had before. And to bring this into the context of these flowers that I made before, I, of course, went around here with my shading. So I also used this black water soluble pen and my brush, and I went around there. And to get it a little bit darker, I also used some watercolors in the end. So I hope you like this little tag. Please leave a comment what you think about it. And if you want to imitate this, of course you can do that. Then please post it to Instagram or somewhere else. Tag me so that I can see your results. I would be really happy to see your version of this tag. Thank you very much for watching and being here with me. Hopefully we will see the next time. I wish you all the best. And see you. Bye bye.